this is Billy Earl here on Delmarvalous, Americana. You can find us on Pack 14 in beautiful downtown Salisbury, Maryland, as well as Delmarvalous Americana on YouTube. We are also available on NPR on WSDL 90.7. This show takes a look at those people who live and breathe and eat art and music. Make sure and go to Delmarvalous Americana House Concerts on Facebook for a schedule of those live music shows here in Salisbury, Maryland. Enjoy, adios, and namaste.
If I say the thing that I think you want me to say, where does that leave us? And in my perspective, coming from someone who has been really good at not sticking around when things get hard, always saying, okay, there's something easier out there, something better. This isn't worth my time fighting over. If this is how it's going to be, I'm out. There's a line in there that says I was always better at leaving than I was at staying. And that's kind of what it's about,
Autobiographical. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Of the songs that you have written, do you have a favorite?
Yes. And I've that's a tough question to ask a writer.
It is.
It's
like, which of your children do you like best?
Yeah, that's a really hard thing to do. They're all my little children. But the one that really I have to say over and over again, because it's true, is Uncle Joe. It's the song I wrote kind of to pay tribute to my mother's side of the family, her oldest brother, Uncle Joe, Warren Joseph Etchison, Biker Joe Warren, as some might refer to him. He was a musician, and it's got some songs out there. Beware if you choose to listen. They're not quite what you may want to hear, but he was a musician nonetheless.
Okay.
Very talented individual, and got the music going in the family, and passed it down to cousins and things like that. And I wrote the song one night around a campfire. Everyone else had decided it was the end of the night for them, and I was up with a bottle of Jack Daniels, a guitar, a nice campfire, and the beautiful Nelson County Blue Ridge Mountain sky, and a shooting star went over. And I thought at that moment, I was like, okay, it's time to write this song about my uncle. And I did. I sat there and wrote it that night.
Wow. So you got a David Allen Coe in your family.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a great thing to have people in your family that are musical. I wish I'd had some of that, but I don't. It just never happened. There are two songs coming up. If I Stay, Tie One On and Uncle Joe. Let's give those a listen. And when we come back, talk to me a little bit about the not the Uncle Joe, but the Tie One On, because that's a great song title.
Well, thank you. Sure.
Okay, this is Billy Earl on Delmarvalous Americana, WSDL 90.7. We're also on YouTube. We're also on Pack 14 TV. Let's let it roll.
Well, that dashboard light, it brings more bad news, telling me that I need to service engine soon. You can add that to the list of things that keep going wrong. Hey, tonight, think I might tie one on. I picked up the mail, looking for a check, but here tonight. Think I might Taiwan home. Take my keys, I ain't going home. If I do, won't be alone. Might end up where I don't belong here tonight. Think I might Taiwan home. Oh, tonight I'm gonna get my drink on. Ain't gonna stop, ain't stopping till the liquor. Tonight I'm gonna get my drink on. Ain't gonna stop until the liquor's gone. Raise a little hell, having too much fun. Gonna let it all come undone. Don't give a damn about right or wrong here tonight. Think I might Taiwan home. Here tonight, think I might Taiwan home. And I'll probably end up where I don't belong. Here tonight, think I might Taiwan home. High up on a mountain above a little town, there stands a wooden cross on a sacred piece of ground. It was put right there in memory of a man. Oh, he fought for his country, but it didn't make a damn. 'Cause he came home with nothing but things he couldn't forget. No love lost for his country, just the ones running it. And I can't say that I knew him very well, but I know that I cried the day those ashes fell. And it's been a while since I've been back there, where we all took his ashes and threw them in the air. And I know he's living on through this guitar in my hand. Oh, there stands a cross in memory of a man. Oh, there stands a cross in memory of a man. Well, at the end of Duncan Loop, just off of Route 6, there stands that wooden cross, just so we don't forget. And it was put right there in memory of a son. Oh, he spoke his point of views in the words of his song. And he flew high on the wings of a dove. That beat up old guitar was his true love. And he rode that devil's highway, yeah, right up to the end. And I know if he was here, that he'd ride it again. And every now and then when I drive by there, well, I get chills, man, and I can feel the air standing up on the back of my neck. Oh, there stands a cross, just so we don't forget. Oh, there stands a cross, just so we don't forget. Oh, high up on a mountain above a little town, there stands that wooden cross on a sacred piece of ground. It was put right there so everyone would know. 49 to 96, Rest in peace, Uncle Joe. It was put right there so that everyone would know. 49 to 96. Rest in peace, Uncle Joe.
Okay, we're back with the Bojack. Tie One On. That couldn't possibly have anything to do with that bottle of Jack Daniels that was previously alluded to, would it?
Absolutely not. I have no experience with things like that, and actually have no idea what the phrase "tie one on" means. I just had to Google it and ask a friend. You know.
You Googleized it.
Googleized it. No, you know, it's definitely a drinking song. I felt like any songwriter out there, especially someone who likes to say they play country music's got to have a drinking song.
Absolutely.
Inspired by true events, like a lot of my songs and stories I try to make up and tell. I had a vehicle that I'd purchased from one of those, 25% credit interest rates. We'll give anybody a deal as long as you can get some down payment and make monthly payments. We'll give you the car kind of deal. In my mid-20s, bartending, living the life. And I said, I need a car. So I went there, got this vehicle, and I was coming in the driveway one day shortly after I got the vehicle. The check engine light came on, and, that was just started to act funny and drive funny. And it was right on top of everything else that was just kind of going wrong in my life, hard times with a girlfriend, the job wasn't making as much money as I wanted to, and all this and that and the other. And I thought, well, this song is kind of just going to write itself. So it pretty much did. And I said, I'm gonna write a drinking song. And I didn't tie one on as I was writing it. I actually finished writing it and then chose to tie one on after that.
There you go. That's the right sequence.
Yeah. But it's truck breaking down, all that fun stuff.
Okay. Tyro song.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
The Tyro song, that is the first song that I can remember, like, really trying to write. I was on a family vacation, headed down to Virginia Beach, Virginia, packed in a minivan, and, there's 7 or 8 people in the minivan talking, and I remember just getting this idea about the good old days and thinking about the old folks talking about their good old days and how, when I get that age, what am I going to say are my good old days? And I went straight back to some childhood memories growing up in Tyro, Virginia, little quaint little town there just off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and started thinking about the crazy things we would do, like catching fish with our bare hands, and thought about an event one summer where it's a true story. We actually did paint my grandfather's pigs a light shade of purple. I don't think we had intentions of doing that. I say we. It was my older brother and my slightly older cousin. We got a can of paint somehow and a couple paintbrushes and ended up painting 5 of my granddaddy's pigs one summer.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, sure it did. But it got, it was just one of those songs that inspired, talk about the good old days and all that stuff. And then along the way, once people in my hometown started to hear me play it, they just kept saying, play the Tyro song, play that Tyro song. So
I hear the old folks talking about the good old days, back when everything was cheap, they had it made. A gallon of gas used to cost a quarter, and they missed their clean mountain water. How it ran out the holler, wild and free. I did the same when I turned 18. And life's been good, treating me fair, but I ain't near as good as it was back then. Pigs summers where I was raised. Well, I passed by the old store just the other day, and the childhood memories put a smile on my face. Playing those games like hide and go seek, counting to 100 and trying not to peek. Old Junie Bug saying he gonna get our ass for playing kickball and killing his grass. Leona coming out, raising Cain, cause another foul ball's done busted a window pane. In the tiny town of Tyrone, man, we had it made. Didn't even know, gone 3 months without no shoes, here running barefoot, breaking all the rules. And the crazy things we did, like the time we painted granddaddy's pigs, going hay fishing every day, oh, not being scared of the water snakes. When I think about the good old days, I go back to the summers where I was raised. Well, sometimes we got away, sometimes we got caught, sometimes we got along, sometimes we fought. Looking back now, all I can say is, man, I miss those good old days. In the tiny town of Tyrone, man, we had it made. Didn't even know, gone 3 months without no shoes, here running barefoot, breaking all the rules. And the crazy things we did, like the time we painted granddaddy's pigs, going hay fishing every day, oh, not being scared of the water snakes. And when I think about the good old days, when I think about the good old days, when I think about the good old days, I go back to the summers where I was raised. Where I was
There you go.
I had to change the title to my own song to suit it. You know, you can't beat them, join them.
Well, it sounds like they got what they needed. Okay, back to the Southland and Paradise. Give us a little teeing up of those two.
Let's try it out, boys. Well, hellfire and brimstone could be coming for me now. I wouldn't hear 'em coming through the noise in this town. This music I'm hearing, Lord, my ears just wanna bleed. For a honky-tonkin' man, this ain't no place to be. I'm going back to the Southland where I belong. I weren't made for these city boys, I'll be getting gone. Oh, I catch a freight train on an eastbound line. Don't call for me, porter, till you see the Virginia pines. Well, they ain't never heard of Willie Whalen and Johnny Cash, so I'm gonna tell them all, man, they can kiss my ass. I'm going on back home where that music's real. They can keep all that distortion, I'll take my pedal steel. I'm going back to the Southland where I belong. I weren't made for these city boys, I'll be getting gone. Oh, I catch your freight train on an eastbound line. Don't call for me, porter, till you see the Virginia pine. Call on it.
Bojack, what's your schedule in the future for live appearances and especially for recorded material? Are you in the studio now at all?
I am currently in the studio. Yes, wrapping up the finishing touches. We're getting really close to finishing the Tyro song. A few more little tweaks here and there, and that one's going to be pretty much wrapped up. And then we've got several more hometown songs I'd like to get in the mix. There's a tune coming up called Heaven Was a Back Road, about, the crazy fun we used to have in my brother's jacked up Chevrolet pickup truck on the old dirt roads here in Nelson County.
Uh-huh.
That song's teed up to get into the studio really soon. And then the band and I are going to get back together and try to do some more recording live in the same room. That's a whole different style of recording that I'm not used to.
It is.
Really had a great time doing that. On the track Back to the Southland was an example of us doing that. So I really want to do more of that, and more writing with the band as well, the guys that I'm playing with, because they're all super talented.
Wonderful. Where do you record?
In different places. Like I said, we actually, above Rapunzel's Coffee and Books, the place I mentioned and we talked about there for the open mic, they have our studio upstairs, and that's where we did Back to the Southland. And we may stop in there to do a couple more. Andy Waldeck is a guy that gave me the vocal lessons way back when. He and I become friends and stayed in touch, and he's a great producer. A lot of the stuff I do with him. He did the EP Southern Love, and he's who I'm working with on the song, the Tyro song, and I'll continue to work with him as well. But there's a couple other places here in the Charlottesville area that we're looking at for studios to try to get together with the band and really do it right this time.
Charlottesville is just a wonderful, beautiful town. In terms of touring, one of the things that challenges an artist a great deal in the early times is booking. And it usually occurs before a booking agent, but it becomes a cat and mouse game with venues, with people who book musical acts. What has your experience been with that?
Like you said, it's a challenging thing, and it is a tricky cat and mouse game. But the more I've done it, the longer I continue to have to do it without a booking agent. What I've learned is, they say that stay persistent and stay on top of it, which is great. Yes, send out some emails, do that thing, but providing as much knowledge as you can in that first initial email, have a date picked out that you want to play there, have potential openers and people on your side in that area. If you're going to do a split bill with local bands to get your name in a new area, have a list of those bands and have a basically a whole night of music packaged together, so that the booking person on the venue side can just be like, great, the whole show's planned, let's do it. All the work that you can do up front as an artist, it makes it easier on them, not just saying, hey, I'm a musician, I'd love to play there, can we talk? Yeah, that's kind of how I used to do it, but then I realized that doesn't get you in the door. So you have to kind of do a lot of the work for them, and it helps a lot.
How much touring have you done?
Quite a bit, I would say. It seems to other people, before COVID and moving out of Nashville back home to Virginia, I was on the road quite a bit. I was taking long trips Thursday through Sunday out to Illinois and trips back down to Nashville and North Carolina, up into Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio. I was doing a lot of that, mostly just solo stuff, playing breweries and wineries and things like that. Every now and then go out with a couple band members to give it a bigger draw.
Yeah.
But when it comes to touring with a major band and several like venues, I haven't done that yet, but that's kind of where I'm leaning with this group of guys I'm working with now, and the songs and the CDs I'm working on is to try to aim more towards venues and getting out of that brewery scene. But I love the brewery scene, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a great place to spread your music to people. It's a beautiful scene.
I agree. But touring can be hard.
Yes,
it can be hard. It's harder than people think.
Yes, it's not as glamorous as some might say, but for me, there's so many things that happen when you're touring, when you're away, that are good. And for me, it's the writing, it's the creative side. I do most of the driving. Obviously, if I'm touring solo, I'm doing most of the driving. But I don't do a lot of listening to the radio when I'm out there. I just sit and think about everything and write songs in my head, record them on my phone, get those melodies going and those thoughts. And then when I get where I'm going, can put them to music at a later date. But it's the time away, you don't always know where you're going to sleep. You don't always know what the bed's going to be like, how long you're going to get to sleep. You can't always get the shows in the right amount of area that you want. So sometimes the drive is 2 hours. Sometimes the drive is 10, 12, 13 hours to get to the next show. And that's tough. That makes it harder to be out there.
Boy, it sure is. How long did you live in Nashville?
I was in Nashville for 2 years, just over 2 years over there. Yeah.
It's a great, great, great town. But it reminds me of Austin. You shake a tree, and 5 guitar players, 3 singers, and 8 songwriters fall out.
Absolutely, and that's fortunately for me, I moved down there at an age where I was not naive and I had no expectations. I didn't think I was going to be the next big thing to hit Nashville. Okay. I kind of went down more to learn than anything else, especially about the songwriting career and how you can write for other people. Chris Knight is a huge influence of mine. I love Chris Knight. When I was turned on to his music and started looking at his catalog of songs, I saw a song called "It Ain't Easy Being Me," and I was like, "Well, that's a Blake Shelton song. Why is it over here?"
Yeah.
It didn't even dawn on me that Blake Shelton knew that Chris Knight wrote it and said, "Hey, man, can I record this song?" It just didn't dawn on me at the time, So I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, this guy can be such a great songwriter, but he can give his song to somebody like Blake Shelton, and then wow, look, it really helps his career,
It really helps, yeah.
So I went down there to dive into that and learn a bit more about it.
Okay. What do you think the biggest lesson you learned about songwriting was?
That it's a different beast writing for someone else and for a particular purpose than it is just to write a song that you're passionate about. Especially if you're doing that with someone else, co-writing is a crazy thing to bounce ideas back and forth off of each other, especially when you end up in a room with 3 or 4 people that you don't know, you never met, friends of friends of friends, and then all of a sudden you've got 4 people shouting out ideas, and some of them are good, some are bad, some people think theirs are better than others. Sometimes you take off running and you get the idea and the song happens in a matter of minutes. Other times you're just coming back to these ideas, and it's a tough game to be in. And I realized that maybe that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I missed touring. I missed going out and playing for strangers. I missed actually getting paid to play my own songs rather than the cover. So I was at a point in my relationship and my music that I felt like I could tour and do what I wanted to do musically from home, and I didn't need to be in Nashville at that time. I have so many connections down there still and friends that my plan is to start going back down there and visiting and touching back into that, so that songwriting and the writers rounds and stuff down there, because I do miss it. It's a great place to explore and express your art and meet other extremely talented people.
Gotcha. Well, look, I am very appreciative of you taking the time to visit with us. This has been a real pleasure. You're a great interview. I want to remind the audience out there, where can they find your music?
JacobPaulAllen.com is the main website. It's on Spotify. Like I said, Jacob Paul Allen. Google that. I think you can find it anywhere as far as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all that fun stuff. The streaming platforms on Facebook and Instagram. I haven't, dived into the TikTok world yet. I feel like that's a tough avenue for me to jump into. Maybe one day I'll get an account, but right now my 2 main platforms are Facebook and social and Instagram. But yeah, JacobPaulAllen.com, and you can find me.
Gotcha. Well, look, if I can give any advice to the people out here in the audience, I would say go to JacobPaulAllen.com and purchase lavishly. I said purchase lavishly. Look, thank you. And we'll see you on down the road. And always remember that a world without country music from Jacob Paul Allen just ain't hardly worth it.
Hey, that's BoJack approved right there.
There you go. Namaste, my friend.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
This has been Delmarvalous Americana here on YouTube, on PAC 14 in Salisbury, and on NPR on WSDL 90.7. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure and go to Delmarvalous Americana House Concerts on Facebook for a schedule of those live music shows here in Salisbury, Maryland. Enjoy, adios, and namaste.